Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everyone is doing good. I was not planning to go live and make a video today, but I'm here at the office and it's empty, and that's partially because it's a Sunday. But basically, that means I can speak out loud. I don't have to be bothering people here. Like I wouldn't make a video if there was other people here, basically. So today, just wanted to chat a little bit about how my progression took place from when I graduated, when I finished school. And it struck me the other day that I almost can't believe I have never worked a real job. And really, I thought about that more when I was in the US because, I went back recently for the first time in 6 years. And a lot of my friends have basically been working those whole 6 years, since we graduated. But I'll take you guys down my unusual story. After high school, which I suppose you could start working after high school, I went to university. So that's not a given. But I went to university in Austin, and I stayed there for 3.5 years until 2000, late 2011. And then I could have graduated at that time. That was like my senior year, and really that was my fifth year. I took a little bit longer because I transferred after my freshman year from a local university called UTPA in Edinburgh. But anyways, I decided to extend it a bit because I really wanted to study abroad. One day my friend invited me to an info session. One of my best friends in university, his name was Jordan, and he was interested in going to Korea. And really, I was just like, okay, I'll tag along. I have nothing to do. When you have a friend that's like that good, you'll just accompany them anywhere, and they're going to pay a bill. They're going grocery shopping. It's going to be a good time no matter what. So it was one of those things, and then that really sparked my interest, and I wanted to study abroad. I didn't know where, but it just seemed so cool, and I loved the international office there and all the international people that I met. I was like, you know what, this is going to be fun. I'm going to do it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to my first place options, which was like Spain, because there's a language requirement. I don't want to go too much into detail, but I ended up going to China. Again, I could have already finished school during that last semester, but I extended it, and I went to China to study in Beijing for a semester. So that was great. That was one of the best, most memorable semesters of my life, definitely. It's just so amazing being in an environment with hundreds of random international students from all around the world, and you're just thrown into the jungle. And that's what China feels like when you first get there, because it's so different from places that you've been to in a good, bad, and weird way. And then after that, I had to do an internship to finally finish graduating. Actually, it was even more than classwork. So that summer after I finished, this is 2012, the summer, I had to stay in Beijing longer to do an internship. And because it was just too hard to find one back home. I had already planned to leave. My initial plan was to stay in Beijing for 4 months. It turned into 4 years. So I stayed. I found an internship there. I worked there over the summer. My commute there to the work site was an hour and a half each way. It was brutal, but some people do it all the time. So that was the first, you could say, like even further extension as to me not working, because people typically start working when they finish university. So anyways, I did the internship. And then during that time, I applied for and received, or I could say won, a Chinese government scholarship. They call it 中国政府奖学金. And it was like for master's courses, of course. So after that summer internship, I was fortunate enough to receive this Chinese government scholarship. And I went even further north, because Beijing stands for like northern capital. And I went even further north. I was basically in this place called Changchun, which is between Russia and North Korea. It's a crazy place. I don't recommend it, but it's just another chapter in this crazy ride that I did in China. And it was freezing. One day it was like -30. A Russian guy punched me in the face, which is a big part of the reason I left. And on top of the fact that I wasn't enjoying anything there, he punched me because a girl he liked was interested in me. And just nothing was going right there. So I actually forfeited, or I declined the scholarship after a semester, and I decided to pursue other things. I basically, anything to get out of there was ideal for me. I did make and meet some nice friends there, from China and Korea and other places, but again, I wouldn't recommend it. So don't go further north than Beijing. It's not going to help you. It's not good for your health or your mind. I went back down, and I found a very short-term job. It's barely worth mentioning, working for a contractor for Microsoft. This was just a 1-month position, but I was back in Beijing. Okay, I made a little bit of money. Really, though, I was there for another position, which was to be a private English tutor for a Chinese celebrity named Wang Luodan. Now, if you're Chinese, you may have heard of her. If you're not, that's probably why, because she's mainly only famous in China. From what I've heard, she's like the Jennifer Aniston of China, and I guess she used to be more popular before now, back in maybe 10 years ago or something. Anyway, she's rich, she's famous. I definitely learned what it's like to live the life of a rich person, like legitimately rich, not wealthy or very wealthy. She's just flat out rich, like filthy. And so that was fun. We were going to private dinner dinner rooms all the time. She had a private driver and this fancy van. She had multiple of those. We stayed in the Westin in Shenzhen for 5 weeks straight in a hotel room. That was more than my salary. It was like $300 a night. So times 35, it's ridiculous. I don't even want to count how much they spent on my accommodation. But me, I'm thinking, put me in a cheap hotel or a hostel and give me the difference. Like, I don't need a 5-star hotel. I'm just a normal guy. So that was a lot of fun. Main thing I learned there was that that girl was rich, and I believe I was and am happier than her. So I can honestly say, from hanging out with someone that closely, I was with her day and night for like 5 weeks, that yeah, money, it doesn't buy happiness, but it definitely helps. So don't get me wrong there. I'm not gonna say money has nothing to do with it, but definitely learned something from her and that experience. And then after that, I tried graduate school again. It was a British school, but it was physically located in Suzhou, which is like a neighboring city of Shanghai. So I went down south and I tried that again. It was fun. I was doing a master's in finance that time. My first one in Changchun was like a master's in international relations. But I switched over to finance. That one I was paying for myself, not cheap. It was like 20,000 plus US dollars. But after a semester, I decided to stop, not because anything was wrong with the city or the program. The program was good. It was solid. And they're like a new kind of startup university there at that time. But I just didn't see myself doing finance for a long time or the rest of my life. You know how that works. So I decided, I better just, stop it quick, cut my losses short. Before then, even though I'd already spent a bunch of money and made yet another move. So I was, you don't want to be moving too much because you never get anything, built up. And then at that time though, while I was there, I was actively doing, 2 kind of entrepreneurial endeavors. One, I had this thing where I was making custom calligraphy for people, but another one, which I actually got the inspiration from working for Wang Luodan, the Chinese celebrity, was to do a laundry service because hotels are a ripoff, and I remember walking down back alleys looking for laundry shop because there's no way I'm paying $100+ to wash my clothes at the hotel. And yeah, one day I think I took a test and I didn't do so well, and I was already on the fence, leaning on the edge of leaving. And then I don't want to say I bombed it, but I didn't perform nearly as I got like a D. I never get D's. I'm like, man, I'm a good student. Let's just say that. So I'm not used to getting D's. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. So that was basically that D basically stamped my ticket to leave. And I went back to Beijing for the nth time. And that's me and Beijing. We have a thing because I'm always, at that point, I always ended up back there somehow. And then I started that business, Laundry Town, the same one I'm still doing and working on and loving and continuing and expanding and spending so much of my time on. Back in, it was like 2013. Yeah, it's 2013 where I was putting stuff up. I was buying machinery, and I'll just skip over that whole 2-3 year period, but that was roughing it out like hardcore during the first 2 to 3 years when I went to Beijing, when I didn't have a lot of money, no help. I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out because, if you try enough and you're semi-smart, you can eventually figure it out. Even if you start off completely wrong, it doesn't matter. You'll get it as you go. And washing laundry is not rocket science. Come How difficult can it be? The machine does all the work for you. And then yeah, so that's what I've been doing ever since. And since I started that business, which I was fortunate enough for it to go well. Trust me, it was on the brink of disaster more than once. I mean, at one point I got shut down by the landlord. I was actually going to buy a ticket to like Cambodia just to go on vacation, completely scrap the business. But on a taxi ride home one day, one of my best friends from China, his name was Michael, a German guy. We used to share a dorm together. He told me, "Hey man, I really think you should reconsider. It's best to take action while you still have the opportunity." And you know, the words that he told me, they really stuck with me for a long time. So I feel like I owe him, you know, a big thanks. Although he's been trying, I haven't been able to get in touch with him for helping me through that. Because you know, I don't typically, and I think I don't listen. There's too many noises and voices. But if you have a good friend, someone you trust, whose opinion you value, who knows what they're talking about, who's kind of like the real, who's a real person, you know, who knows their stuff, basically is what I'm trying to say, then he was one of those people, and he definitely helped me. So yeah, since that business has been going good, there's no need for me to get a job. There's no need, and I'm liking it so far. Definitely, things are going great. So I see 11 minutes on the clock here, but that was basically as quickly as I could say to take you through the progression. But other than that, hope everyone is doing great. Take care. See ya.